Hi, this is Cheryl McQueen, guest designer with Bello's Designs. Today's tutorial will be a vellum bonus to my series on how to use vellum in making cards. Today we'll look at another way to use vellum other than in making cards. I will show you how I use vellum to make a lantern. This technique can be used with any home decor base that you like. Let's take a look at the supplies that we will be using today. We'll be using one sheet of vellum that I have cut to the size of the windows of my lantern. The Lavinia stamps that we'll be using today will be the hanging lanterns, which is LAV 360. We'll be using the 3 woodland mice, which is LAV 402. And then I'll just be using a small little heart, tiny heart that I have on hand. We will use the Lavinia stencil called Feather Leaf. This one is ST014. For my stamping ink, I'm going to use the Ranger Black Archival ink. This is a really good ink because it's acid-free and permanent. The inks I'm going to be using for the colors are going to be Tim Holtz Distress inks. I'll be using Candied Apple, Kitsched Flamingo, and Black Soot. We'll also be using a fine point tip black pen to draw some of the grounding for our animals that we'll be using in the design. And then a lantern or any other home decor item that you would like to use. This one I happen to get at Michael's. You can get different sizes of home decor items, obviously, and do them to whatever you like. You can see that I have already done 6 panels, and then we're going to go ahead and just do one today to show you how to do the technique. So to get started, we will use our vellum sheet of paper. I'm going to go ahead and move our lantern to the side for right now. My vellum piece of paper has been cut to 5 1/4 inches by 2 1/4 inches because that's what will fit in my windows. So we're going to start out by using our Kitsched Flamingo, taking a blender. I am just going to coat the entire piece of the vellum with the pink just to lay down a base color. Okay, so you can kind of, it's hard to see the pink. Just kind of just to give the hint of it. Since this is going to be a Valentine's decoration, I wanted to use the pinks and the reds. Alright, now that we've got that done, we are ready to go ahead and do our stenciling. So I'm just going to lay my stencil over my piece of vellum and taking a little dauber, I'm just going to gently dab and blend over the top of my stencil in order to get the red ink to go through the openings in the stencil. Okay. Then I will lift up my stencil And you can see that we have got this nice little pattern on our vellum. All right, now we're just going to go ahead and get the stamping platform out. Let me move this ink out of the way, and then we will put our piece of vellum down on our stamp pad. As you can see, I've used the sticky sheet on the background. This way I don't have to worry about using magnets. If you'd like to see how to do this, how to set your stamping platform up, there's a good video tutorial by Patty Del Bello on how to set up your stamp platform with the sticky sheets. So we're going to start out by doing our mice. So I'm going to grab one of my little mice and put him in place where I want him to be. I'll just put him right about there. And then we will take our archival ink and stamp, dab onto our stamp to get him all covered really well with ink. Vellum is not quite as absorbent as regular paper or cardstock that we normally use, so we may have to stamp him a couple of times in order to get a really good, clear, sharp image. So I'm probably going to push down a little bit harder than you normally would when you're stamping using a platform, and that's just because I'd like to try and see if I can get the ink to absorb onto the vellum. Alright, did a pretty good image. I'm going to go ahead and give him just a little bit more ink to cover up just a tiny little spot down there that didn't absorb very well. Put a little more ink on my mouse. And let's do one more impression. Hopefully this will put enough ink on there. Alright, let's see what we've got. Oh yeah, that's a good impression. Okay, now our mice, as you can see, all face the same direction. I'd really like for my two mice to be facing each other. Luckily with vellum, since it's transparent, we can just flip our sheet of paper over, peel that up, and flip it over, and as you can see, the mouse shows through. So I can place that down on the other side, and then we will remove our other little mouse, take him off, and get this one so that they are looking at each other. So I'm going to place him down. And now we will stamp him up and get him into place. Alright, I do see that I've got just a little bit of ink on my stamping platform. I'm going to go ahead and wipe that off so we make sure we don't get any smears, what we don't want. And stamp up our mouse. Oops. My vellum didn't stick. Yeah, there we go. We got a good image on that one, so we aren't going to have to worry about stamping that one a second time. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the hanging lanterns. So I'm going to stick this back down. I'm probably needing to get another piece of sticky grid underneath. I have used this sticky grid over and over and over again, so that's the really nice thing, is that you can reuse this until the stickiness goes away. So we're going to stick him down, and then I'm going to grab our hanging lanterns. So I'm just going to place that hanging lantern, the first one. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and move this down so we can make sure that we've got plenty of room for our hanging lantern stamp to hang off the edge. And I think because I don't want to get a lot of ink on my sticky grid, I'm going to go ahead and place some paper right around the edge of it, so that whatever goes off the edge won't get onto our sticky grid. And we'll do the same thing at the top. Alright. So now we'll place our stamp down. Get it positioned where we'd like it to be. Well, it looks like I really have lost my sticky on my sticky grid. So, in order to fix that, I'm just going to take a tiny little piece of tape. And then when I get through with this project, I'll replace my sticky grid. So we'll just hold that in place that way. And now we're ready to stamp up our hanging lanterns. Alright. And get a good image there on that. And reposition our lanterns. Let's kind of have this one coming at a slight little angle, maybe. Cross that way. Ink it up again. And now for our final placement. Let's go ahead and have this one come slightly at an angle, about like that. And we may have had enough ink on it, but we'll go ahead and put a little more ink down. Alright, and we'll do our final inking of the hanging lanterns. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and close the lid on my ink pad so it doesn't dry out. And we will pull our piece of vellum off of our stamping platform. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can grab just a little piece of white paper so we can see this a little better. There we go. Alright, so now we want to ground our mice so they aren't floating around in the air. So we're going to take our fine tip black pen and just draw a little bit of ground and grass around their feet, so that it looks like they're standing on the ground and not floating in the air. And we'll just add a few more little sprigs of grass here. Just kind of randomly put some in there. Alright, and then to help them to look a little bit more realistic, we're going to go ahead and take our black soot and put just a little bit of a base of shadow. Alright, so now my panel is done. It didn't take too terribly long. Now I'm going to put my panel inside of my lantern. So I'm going to open up the little door on it. And I'm going to go ahead and put just a couple of tiny little pieces of tape on the edges to hold it in place. Since this is a Valentine's Day decoration, and I will want to use the lantern for other holidays, I don't want to put the panels in permanently. So that's why I just want to use just a little bit of tape just to hold them in place for now. Alright, and so now you can see there's my little mice. And I did rabbits. Oh, you know what I just realized? I didn't put my heart on my mice. Let's go ahead and pull that back out and put the hearts in. That's what really gives us our Valentine look. Just put our little tiny heart right between the two mice. There we go. Yeah, we can slide them back in there. And there we go. So you can see that I have done different animals on each sides of the lantern for my Valentine decoration. I actually have a little battery operated light that I'm going to put inside mine. See if we can get it where you can see it. I will have a picture that you can see what it looks like with the light on. You can also use one of those little electronic candles on the inside if you'd like to. And now we have our little cute lantern that we've made for the Valentine holiday. Thank you so much for watching my tutorial today. Use your imagination on home decor items that you can use that vellum might look cute with. Be sure to check out the bellosdesigns.com website for more tutorials on the design team page. Have a great day.